Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Earth Body Consciousness. Wonderful to have you on board with me today. Today, I'm just on my own, as in I don't have a guest. So I'll just be sharing from my heart. And yeah, I was just feeling into what wants to come forward and what we want to speak into today. And it feels like just the energetics of the field that is here to support us. Um, there's so much energy and support and teams we have, and there's, yeah, very much I can go into about that with our higher self and our galactic teams and angelic teams and Earth and the elements and everything. There's so much. I just feel to say that what I notice is when I'm more centered in myself, I can feel what's there for me that's in alignment with my true expression in each moment. And what that is it's helping me move away from my human identities, my personal self. And of course, that all has a purpose. It's just that it's showing me that what I often identify myself as isn't my true expression. It's what has accumulated over the years, lives of living in a 3D reality and trauma and suffering and conditioning and all those things. So, what I feel is really available for us all now is the quantum field is so active and so accessible that we can really align ourselves with our heart's desire, with our highest purpose, our missions, our truest callings, all these wonderful things that help us on our way. So I just got a little bit distracted then, sorry. I thought this wasn't recording, but it is. Yeah, okay, that's good. Um, yeah, and what I find is the more I go into nature, the more time I spend with nature, which, people who know me know I spend a lot of time in nature. Um, and what I'm noticing, the more I do immerse myself in there, or maybe just the quality of the time that I spend while I'm in nature. So it's not so much how often, it's just more present I am with when I'm there. I can feel the field a lot more and I can feel what's calling, what the next step is, what the next thing that's wanting to leave that no longer serves me, that's weighing me down. And then I can bring that with me into my everyday life. And, food's a classic. I can eat something and then go, oh, I feel a bit heavy. And I can check in at times and go, yeah, I actually knew that before I even ate it. I just chose to ignore it because I'm in my usual way of being, or I just couldn't be bothered, or whatever it is. Um, and and I'm noticing that that doesn't happen so often now because what's calling is stronger and because I'm feeding it and giving it recognition, it's supporting me more so I can really know what, for instance, food to eat or not eat, or how much to eat, or how often or not often, and things like that. And as people will know if they listen to when I walked along a long way, which was, yeah, a long trail of about 700 kilometers all up. Um, how often I didn't need food while I was walking because I was so nourished by my environment, and the elements, and really tuning in to myself and centering and anchoring into the earth and connected to consciousness. So that total, yeah, midstream that just anchored in and centered and really feeling my environment. So all the elements coming in and the support that's there, and just breathing consciously and slowly. I just felt there wasn't much I needed outside of that because I was so nourished by everything. And it's part of that is, loosening the barriers of what we identify ourselves as and becoming one with everything, and just losing um, what we call ourselves in the sense of our form, and merging into everything around us, because we're not separate, we are with it all. And then we can really feel what's there to support us and receive it and be nourished by it, be fed. And yeah, I could walk for many hours without eating much because I was just nourished. And even the walking aspect of it was nourishing, because the body's moving, things are shifting, you're awakening other aspects of ourselves. We're bringing through conscious energies that are within us. Every aspect of us is alive and active. So you're regenerating, you're revitalizing. Yeah, and it's all very simple. It's just kind of not what we are taught or shown or is our norm, because we're quite, busy and in the head and needing to do and thinking of that. And I find that there's a lot now where it was really starting to realize or embody um, that body intelligence, that heart consciousness, and being in that space more often, more regular, and regulating that those parts of us so we operate from that place. And we can bring all those kind of things into any part of life. I find, and I can think of many times where I've kind of let go of working it out, or mentally trying to initiate something and just feeling and going with it. And yeah, there's many different experiences I could share about that. But one that just comes into my awareness as I'm speaking is yeah, this was probably about 10 years ago. Yeah, actually even longer, 12 years ago, I think. Um, and I was working in a community with people, very amazing beings with different abilities, and on a biodynamic farm in a Rudolf Steiner school, very holistic environment. Very it's challenging and demanding, but also very rewarding. And I was living, moved from one island, from the South Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand, to the North Island. And after a wee while, I had a push bike. I didn't have a car. And then I just lived on site. I loved it. It was really simple, my life as well, and in that sense. And I felt like I wanted a vehicle of some kind, and I thought about a motorbike. And I haven't ever owned a motorbike in my life. So I was just thinking of a nifty 50 where you don't need to get a motorbike license. They don't go too fast. They're pretty simple to ride. And so I just felt into that. And immediately I got, um, well, maybe not like the initial time, I just started to explore that. And then I may have looked on Trade Me, which is like New Zealand's Amazon. In some places, and then I feel I really sat with it or tuned in, and I go to a certain supermarket and read the advertising cards at the supermarket. And it was just one particular supermarket, and it was one that I don't usually shop at. And so I didn't question it, it was just there. So I got on my push bike, and I on my day off, and I biked there, and I looked at the cards where people write, things they're selling or wanting to buy. And there was a 50cc motorbike for sale and a phone number. And I think it might have had a price like $1,000 crossed out to $800. And so I rang the phone number, And the lady answered, and I said, "Oh, I'm interested in your bike." And she said, "Oh, I'm at work." And I said, "Oh, well, where's work?" And she said, "Oh, it's Pack and Save." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm at Pack and Save, looking at your advertisement." So she was in this help part. So she was honestly 10 meters away from where I was standing. So I just walked around the corner and she was there and we talked and she said, "Oh, the motorbike's up at a garage where we bought the car and we've just left it there. It's about a k and a half away." So, I talked a little bit and then got the directions and jumped on my bike and I biked up there. And then I arrived and the motorbike was there. I asked, the mechanic or someone at the garage about seeing it, who it was, and said the lady's name. And he showed me it, and I looked at it, and it was pretty old looking and more like a motorbike than what I know as nifty 50s. And I was a little bit thrown off by that. And I was like, um, oh, is this what I want? It's interesting. This has flown and flowed really nicely and brought me here. And so when I was in that questioning, a young guy who was there with his dad getting his car done came over to me and went, "Oh, wow, is this your bike?" And I said, "Oh, no, I'm actually, well, maybe I'm looking at buying it." He said, "Oh, these are really cool. I love these bikes. I've driven them before. Can I take it for a ride?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he jumped on it. And so I got to watch him, like change the gears because he was six gears and, ride it around. And then he came back and he said, "Oh, yeah, it's an awesome bike." He said, "How much are they asking?" And I said, "Oh, they want 800." He said, "Oh, no, say 600." And I went, "Oh, okay." And he said, and then he kind of walked away. And it was like he just almost disappeared, like he was an angel that appeared in human form, which really he was. So, but it gave me the confidence to get on the bike and change gear without stalling or falling off or something. And I took it for a drive around and yeah, it's still a little bit like it's quite old looking, but is this for me? Well, I don't know. Yeah, it must be because I'm here and it's feels like it's aligned, and it's what I've asked for. And actually, and he said, "Oh, they can go up to like 80 kilometers an hour," which I went, "Wow, actually, that's amazing. If I'm confident on it, I can go a little bit quicker to further away places, and it will be fine." Um, so I took it for the drive, got off, parked it up, and then jumped on my bike, and I biked back to the lady and she was still in the same place I was able to talk to at work. And she asked me how it went, and I said, "Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I drove it. Yeah, I'm not too sure about the price. How about $600?" And she went, "Yep." Not a question, just straight up, "Yep." And I went, "Oh, okay." I went, "Oh, well, okay, I'll buy it. Yep, sure." And she said, "Oh, well, I've got the ownership papers here. Um, and you can just go to the post office and change them into your name." So yeah, within about an hour to an hour and a half, I went from being at home, going, "Okay, I'm going to bike into town," to owning a motorbike. And yeah, I love this motorbike. It was awesome. I had it for a while there, and yeah, fixed some things up. I did some painting on it and added some things, replaced the seat, the leather on the seat and things. And it was a real blessing to get on the bike and feel the wind and everything. So, and it was good for me to just be able to hop on something and go without physical exercise because, yeah, my job was quite physically demanding in a lot of ways because it was very emotionally demanding and it was just nice to chill out on your days off. So to have that motorbike was a real blessing. And this is a beautiful example of, when something's aligned, it's just right there, and when we open ourselves up to going beyond what the mind thinks or how it should be or what we think we need, and just trust and say yes, then it just comes to us. And this is like I say, 12 years ago, and the energetics now are so more supportive. so stronger, and we're coming more and more into alignment with working and being this way and embodying it. And so this is just an offering to know, yeah, to move beyond your limitations, our patternings and conditionings and beliefs, and really step into that heart feeling that, take some time and write a list and really feel into what it is that's calling you, that really feels expansive and light and fun and joyous and creative and expressive, and just the most important thing we can be is just true to ourselves. And when we get into these places where we know we're comfortable with that, we're not so caught in what people might think or tell us, that we know that we can just honor that, and that's enough because it feeds us so much. Um, then we can just step into that. And the more of us that do it, the more enhanced the field is. We support the collective consciousness, we assist others to do the same, and every one of us is hugely important. So yeah, that's my sharing today. I just felt to drop that in and hope that sparks something for someone and assists in some way. And yeah, I'm really blessed to be able to share this with you. I actually had a wee journey with my transcriber didn't want to go, which is quite important for these episodes, especially with a guest, because there's so much information and they're usually around the hour mark. And I'm moving around, so I just had certain times when I could do um, some Zoom calls and episodes, and yeah, didn't seem like it wanted to work. So for me, that's saying it's not aligned at the moment, and I felt to do this, and here it is today, back working, and I didn't do anything. It just came back on, just like it disappeared, and I just trusted all that. I surrendered to that. So um, I'll probably be doing a few heart sharings and maybe transmissions until I get into a bit more settled space and start doing recordings again, which will be soon anyway as well. So yeah, thank you all for listening and joining me. I feel really grateful, and I feel your support, and I love to share my love and insights with you, and and I love the feedback that I get as well, and everything. So take care, and lots of love, everybody.